Australia, for the first time since the Second World War, has expelled the ambassador of another nation. Ahmed Sadeghi, ambassador to Australia from Iran, the most senior diplomatic position between these two nations, ambassador, has been designated persona non grata, a person no longer welcome on Australian soil. Last time I heard someone declare persona non grata was when John Wick was taken, took out a bad guy in the Continental and was declared excommunicado by Winston or someone. The reason for such a harsh and rare diplomatic decision by the huge Oceania island nation, what is the reason? The government says it's because of two arson attacks that were carried out in Australia, one in a kosher cafe in Sydney and another in Ad As Israel synagogue in an attack in Melbourne. I don't know what Ad As is, but anyway. Nobody lost their lives, but property was reportedly damaged in these attacks. Now, these arson attacks, according to the Australian state now, occurred by the direction of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. They directed it. They basically demanded, or they carried out the attack, basically, or they facilitated the attack. The IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, it's an elite branch of the Iranian military tasked primarily with ensuring the survival, not survival, ensuring that it's one take, guys, it's one take, ensuring the survival of the current Iranian administration and protection of the state generally thereafter. Now, that's the news. Australia chucked out Iran's ambassador, said this is why they supported these attacks. Very anti-Semitic, super anti-Semitic, absolutely unacceptable on Australian soil. So, yeah, now you're gonna have to be on your way, mate. It is what it is. Sorry, okay. That's the news. Now, for the analysis, let's slow down a bit and take a breather. And I've got some juicy assessments and analytical explanations to give. Sit down, grab a non alcoholic drink, and let's discuss. Now, first off, these arson attacks on Australian soil, how horrendous. Property damage and a scared community on Australia thinking that they're being targeted. Absolutely unacceptable. When did this, when did this happen? Right? When did these attacks happen? Australian intelligence must have very quickly after the attacks realized that it was Iran who directed the attacks, right? Of course. Australian intelligence, no doubt, very intelligent. And the Iranian motive for an attack in far off Australia, you've come to realize why the attackers did the attacking, right? Australians, I'm sure, want to know the motive. And Iran have defiantly responded, saying, "Yes, we attacked and we gave, these reasons for hating the West and wanting the downfall of Australia. Here's our justification for such a heinous attack on Australian soil." Is that not correct? Is that not what happened? Well, not exactly. Let's rewind it. Well, not exactly. No, wait, I've rewinded too much. Let me try again. How horrendous. Property damage and a scared community. When did these attacks happen? Well, the answer is last year, 2024. So quite a while ago. It's August of 2025. Yeah, I know this year is going quick, guys. Australian intelligence knew all this time, but didn't publicly lambast Iran, didn't knock out their diplomat, not knock out their diplomat, but like knock, expel their diplomat earlier. Apparently, Australian intelligence just recently confirmed that Iran was behind these attacks. How convenient. We'll get to what I mean by that in a bit. Their source, Australian intelligence, that they just discovered that Iran was behind it all, the IRGC specifically. What's their source? Trust me, bro. That was a bit of an Australian accent, I think. Anyway, I couldn't find any public sources myself. That's what I'm saying. There's no public sources shown that says this is how we confirmed after over 8 months. This is how we confirmed that Iran's behind these attacks. But trust us, trust us. The arsonists, they've been captured, I should point out, right? Literally months ago. And they've been identified, they've been booked, they've been jailed, they've been sentenced at least. I don't actually know if they're in jail. So, you interviewed them, you found out their motives, at least what they considered, at least what they stated to be their motives, right? Wrong. No motives shared with the public in Australia or globally at all. And Iran, did they take credit for this attack and give their justification? No, actually, they immediately denied being involved in any way with these arson attacks in Australia. They categorically said, we're not for that life. We absolutely did not do this or support this or direct this or facilitate this. They said, we have zero involvement, right? Zero. Now, I just want you guys to get some backstory here. I know it's TikTok, but take a breather, take things easy. Loads of people tell me, Muffles, you have to be punchier, you have to be quicker, you have to be bam, 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 within 3 minutes, get everything out there. That's just not my style. Right? Loads of people have been watching my content and said, Muffles, you fixed my ADHD. Muffles, I'm able to watch longer videos, especially since Muffles, you keep me engaged. Alhamdulillah, that's a good thing that I think I can keep some people engaged with my stupid jokes and my ridiculous sidetracking and meandering, like this meander right now. But I'll come back very quickly. Bear with me. What I'm trying to say is, if you only have 180 seconds, that's 3 minutes, by the way. If you only have 180 seconds to get the full news, you're not going to get more than 180 seconds worth. What I give you, I believe, is about 15 to 20 minutes of potent detail packaged into 10 minutes a lot of the time, right? And that's a lot. Imagine if you go through BBC News, Sky News, and GB News if you're really desperate, and Fox News if you're really desperate. It will take hours for you to hear the coverage and get a nice summary. And then you'd have to summarize it yourself. Whereas me, I'm doing the research, I'm doing the reading, and I'm providing the summary for you. It's taking me 10 minutes, but if you don't have that time, that's why I'm trying to split it into the news, and then I say that's the news. Now here's the analysis, and then I get into a slightly longer take for the real G's, as it were, for the for those who have more time, those who are willing to allocate more time to understanding the situation in a more nuanced fashion. So bear with me, guys. Anyway, I want to touch on the relationship between Australia and Iran before this, which you might not know about. Relations between Australia and Iran were relatively cordial before this incident. You see, after the Islamic Revolution in Iran, unbroken for almost 50 years, an Australian ambassador has been in Tehran. And a few years after that, a Iranian ambassador has been in Canberra, I believe, the Australian capital. Australia trades with Iran in wheat, wool, and saffron. Those are the three main products that I know about, and other products, I'm sure. There's an estimated 80,000 strong community of Iranians in Australia right now, right? It's a diaspora community. And interesting to note, the Muslim population in Australia is over 800,000, 8 times larger by some estimates than the Jewish population in Australia. It's not a competition, of course, but I just want to give you guys an idea of the kind of demographics we're working with, or the demographics that Australia as a state is working with. You have 100,000 or 117,000 is the number I came across actually, 117,000-ish Jews, 80,000-ish Iranians, and the Iranians 80,000 obviously lump into the 800,000 Muslims. Now, I want to come to the crux of my analysis here in the last couple of minutes. The main analysis I want to share with you, I don't know why I said analysis like that. Australia has a organization that you may not know about, but today you will know about it. And then I encourage you to look into it further if you're interested. AIJAC. Slip there. Australian Israeli JAC, Action Committee. I don't know actually, sorry. It rhymes with AIPAC though, that's what's important. So it's easy for me to remember. AIJAC is Australia's Israel lobby, essentially, simplifying it. This is TikTok after all, I can't really get too deep, but AIJAC, Israel lobby in Australia, like AIPAC, Israel lobby in America. Analysts are suggesting that Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is not having an easy, see what I did there, is not having an easy time leading the nation. Hundreds of thousands of Aussies coming out into the streets and onto the bridges even, demanding action by the Australian government to distance itself from the insane anti-humanity actions by the Israeli state, according to the protesters, right? According to protesters. Linked to that, many argued, Albanese tried to make his own life a bit easier by declaring that Australia would recognize the state of Palestine in September, along with a number of other Western nations. Now, first of all, that isn't enough. Now, I want to make 2 points here. Number one, that isn't enough for the protesters, right? Protests continue because people want more than just recognition in a few months. They want decoupling of Australia from the Israeli state. They want the Aussie state to condemn and cut ties with Israel, to really voice their to really voice their discontent. I got distracted there because the timer shows that it's about to. Anyway, it's not enough for the protesters, is what I'm saying. For Australia's Prime Minister to say, "G'day, mates, we're gonna recognize Palestine next month. Until then, yeah, you're gonna have to take it easy, mates. You're gonna have to take it easy. No more walking across the old bridges in Sydney, eh?" Not the best accent, but I'm trying, right? Now, many say if any diplomats are expelled, it should be the ones from the country giving people very 1930s Germany vibes, violence, militaristic, against civilians, no less. And that's the first point, that declaring Palestine as a state, I promise I will, pinky swear, next month, that's not enough, sorry, for the protesters, by and large. The second point I want to make, this is why, and this second point is why it's hard for Albanese. He's not having an easy time. I think I've milked his name enough of the easy jokes. Anyway, this is why it's extra hard for Albanese. The second point is, while he's trying to do stuff to calm the pro-Palestinian, pro-humanity, pro-don't starve civilians camp, while he's trying to appease them, he also has to deal with the other side, which is AIJAC and various Israel-linked groups that operate in Australia and have considerable influence. It's some of these groups, according to some local Australian analysts, it's some of these Israel-linked groups that are pushing back against the pro-Palestine drift that Australia and really all the countries in the West are going through because of their citizens opening up their phones and saying, "Oh my God, what's Israel doing?" And they're sort of drifting the countries in a pro-Palestine direction. Mind you, if this is Israel and this is Palestine, the West kind of, my head is the West, okay? The West, this is pro-Israel, right? It's because it's blue. The West is kind of like this, but it's drifting in the direction of pro-Palestine, and that's not a good thing for, obviously, the Israel lobbies in all these countries, which want, the West to stay very firmly in the Israeli camp, right? So Albanese, to make life just a little more easy for himself and the Australian government, he threw them a bone as well, right? He said, "Okay, look how tough I'm being on Iran. Look how tough I'm being on Iran. Look, I kicked out the diplomat. I haven't done that in, since World War II. Very tough. Oh, I hate them. Oh, so anti-Semitic. They are so anti-Semitic, right?" So he's trying to calm AIJAC. He's trying to throw them a bone. That's all. The huge supporter of Palestine and the arch enemy of the Israeli state is Iran. Iran has done, analytically speaking, factually, more to oppose Israel than any other country literally on earth in terms of kinetic involvement, in terms of hostile action or hostile response to hostile action, right? So if Australia can say, "Oh, look how tough I'm being on your arch nemesis, Israel," that's the bone they want to throw Israel so that hopefully they get off Australia's back. Now, is that going to actually get AIJAC off Australia's back? Probably not. AIJAC's going to keep pushing, right? But if you keep pushing and the pro-Palestinian camp in Australia keep pushing, then the administration's in a tough position. I don't actually know. I don't know enough. This is where I say I don't know enough about Australian, specifically internal politics, to understand and to give you a reading on exactly what's going to happen. Some places I make forecasts on, like Eastern Europe, Russia, Ukraine, like the Middle East. I can't make a forecast on this, but I can explain to you what the situation is. Australia's administration is in a tough position. The decades-old, well-entrenched Israel lobby and pro-Israel groups, that's one camp, and then the sort of populist, the proletariat, the working class of Australia, the common man and woman, they're out on the streets because everyone has families, everyone has kids, everyone has wives or husbands, and they're like, you are literally, our state is literally supporting that state over there that's committing crimes against humanity. How about no? How about we stop doing that? So you got both sides here really pushing, and the Australian government's caught between a rock and a hard place. I can handle giant spiders and kangaroos hopping about, but AIJAC is getting on my nerves, and these pro-Pally supporters. That was so bad. Sorry, I'm sorry, but I can't help it. I want to try, right? I want to try. If you don't try these accents, you don't get better. So in summary, my assessment is this expulsion of Iran's ambassador to Australia is not really about Iran or the arson attacks last year. It's about, my assessment is, this is not fact, this is speculation, or this is analysis. My assessment is it's about the pro-Palestine drift of Australia, and that's got AIJAC panicked, and so they've activated, they're readying the jets, they're warming up the ovens to put in the effort needed to try and claw Australia back to their, well, what Israel would consider their rightful place as a blind supporter of the Israeli state. Come what may, whatever we do, you need to support us. Australia, the collective citizen conscience is like, hell no, we ain't for that life. Do you even know us? Like, we will be very outspoken. Israel's like, no, shut up, please, come back. So that's the push and pull. That's the struggle that's going on, even this far away in Oceania, on this giant island that is Australia. Hearts are turning towards justice for the natives of a land so far away you absolutely can't fly there, not comfortably at least, and is turning towards justice for the natives and against military action against civilians. I think we'll leave it there. For the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin, it continues to be a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your support. Please do support me. Find ways. You can do it. I've got Patreon, and I've got comments that you can leave. I've got likes and bookmark buttons you can press. Come on. You can do it. And I'll see you on the next one. I'm NewsBaba, signing out.